In Washington state, 2 decades ago, a man and his son are walking through the woods near their cabin, sensing that they are being watched. Later that night, Augustine, accompanied by armed gunmen, arrives in search of the man. Augustine uses a pair of dice to determine the fate of his victims, and the boy manages to distract him briefly to allow his father to fight back. However, the man orders his son to run, and as he escapes, he hears the fatal gunshot and witnesses the villains burning down their cabin. Fueled by rage, the boy adopts the name Snake Eyes as he grows older. In the present day, Snake Eyes participates in an underground fight against a much larger opponent. Although initially overpowered, Snake Eyes uses his intelligence to gain the upper hand, ultimately defeating the man. After the fight, he encounters a man named Kenta, who claims to know the identity of the person responsible for killing Snake Eyes' father, an obsession that has consumed him for years. Reluctantly, Snake Eyes accepts a job offer from Kenta. Over the next 4 weeks, Snake Eyes finds employment at a fish factory in the Los Angeles port area, working alongside a young man named Tommy Arashikage. Unbeknownst to them, the fish factory serves as a front for the Yakuza, led by Kenta. Kenta accuses Tommy of being a spy for his own clan and orders Snake Eyes to execute him. However, having formed a bond with Tommy, Snake Eyes decides to aid him in fighting off the other men and escaping. They manage to reach a boat, but Snake Eyes gets knocked unconscious during the ordeal. Upon waking up, Snake Eyes finds himself on a plane with Tommy, who expresses his gratitude for saving his life. Tommy reveals that he and Kenta are cousins and were rivals vying for leadership of the Arashikage clan. As a result, Kenta tried to have Tommy killed. Knowing that Snake Eyes' life is in danger if he returns to the States, Tommy takes him to Tokyo to introduce him to the Arashikage clan and initiate him as a new member. In Tokyo, Snake Eyes meets Akiko, the clan's advisor, and Sen, the current leader who is also Tommy's grandmother. To become a full member of the clan, Snake Eyes must undergo 3 challenges. Akiko becomes suspicious of him as she cannot find any records of his existence in America, suggesting that he has been living off the grid for a long time. During the first challenge, Snake Eyes is introduced to the 2 instructors, Hardmaster and Softmaster. His task is to take a water bowl from Hardmaster's hands without spilling the water in the bowl he holds. Initially, Snake Eyes attempts to use force and fighting to take the bowl from Hardmaster, but he ends up spilling the water. Remembering his father's advice to let go of his ego, he decides to simply ask Hardmaster to trade bowls, and he successfully completes the challenge. In his spare time, Snake Eyes secretly meets with Kenta, as he is still acting as a mole for him, attempting to infiltrate the Arashikage clan to obtain an artifact known as the Jewel of the Sun. In exchange, Kenta promises to reveal Augustine's whereabouts to Snake Eyes.
Bring it to me, and I'll give you your father's killer.
Later, Snake Eyes engages in a duel with Akiko, who continues to question his motives for being there, while he inquires about the scar on her face. Both of them keep their secrets. The second challenge involves Snake Eyes meeting with Blind Master. He follows a glowing blue light that leads him back to the place where his father was murdered. There he faces an apparition of his father, expressing his regrets for not being able to save him and feeling responsible for his death. Blind Master explains to Snake Eyes that the challenge is not about winning or losing, but about letting go of the burdens that weigh on the person taking the challenge. The Arashikage clan discovers Kenta's presence in the city and confronts his henchmen in battle. During the fight, they uncover a stash of guns supplied to Kenta by the terrorist organization Cobra. Akiko contacts their agent, Scarlett O'Hara, who is also part of the G.I. Joes, and shares information about Kenta's connection to Cobra. Scarlett is on the trail of the Baroness, a high-ranking agent of Cobra wanted for terrorism.
As soon as I can.
Snake Eyes later meets Kenta, and the Baroness introduces herself to him. She shows him a video of Augustine in captivity, reminding him of their deal to kill Augustine in exchange for information. Snake Eyes tries to sneak into the temple protecting the jewel, but is almost caught and returns to his room before Akiko can catch him. They have a personal conversation about Snake Eyes' motives for being there, with Akiko offering sincere advice. In the third and final challenge, Snake Eyes faces 3 giant anacondas in a pit. He recalls Akiko's advice to open his heart, but when he chuckles, the anacondas attack. However, he is saved in time. Snake Eyes, Tommy, and Akiko are brought before Sen and the Masters. Snake Eyes confesses that his heart is not pure, driven by a lifelong desire for vengeance against his father's murderer. Blind Master confirms the truth to Sen, who spares Snake Eyes' life but states he cannot become a member of the Arashikage clan. Before leaving, Snake Eyes says goodbye to Tommy, and they make a blood pact by cutting their hands on the sword Tommy gave him. Later that night, Snake Eyes observes how Tommy and Akiko access the jewel, and he uses the blood cleaned off the blade to gain entry into the temple. As he grabs the jewel, Akiko spots him and reveals the origin of her scar, cautioning against misplaced trust. She tries to capture him, and when Tommy discovers what happened, he also joins the pursuit. Despite their efforts, Snake Eyes manages to escape the compound. Snake Eyes meets Kenta, Baroness, and their henchmen at the agreed location and hands over the jewel. Kenta tests its power by incinerating one of his goons. Snake Eyes is then allowed to confront Augustine. Before he can kill him, Snake Eyes demands to know why his father was murdered. Augustine reveals that he used to work for Cobra and carried out the hit on his father under their orders. Realizing that Cobra is the real enemy, Snake Eyes chooses to spare Augustine's life and decides to stop Kenta instead.
I was. Until 3 weeks ago when that bitch dragged me off a chopper at gunpoint.
On his way back to the Arashikage, Snake Eyes is pursued by Tommy and Akiko on motorcycles. He uses his skills to evade them and proves his allegiance when Kenta's goons attack. After defeating the attackers, Akiko rides back while Snake Eyes and Tommy hijack a car to return to the compound. Kenta and his group arrive, launching a devastating attack on the members of the Arashikage. As Baroness tries to take the jewel for herself, Kenta double-crosses her, revealing his plan to use it against Cobra.
Maybe I'll just keep it.
No good deed.
Snake Eyes, Tommy, and Akiko join forces with Scarlet and the Masters to defend their clan's home. Baroness forms a temporary alliance with Scarlet to confront Kenta. Together, they take down most of his henchmen, leaving only Kenta and a few remaining men to face the heroes. During the confrontation, Scarlet and Baroness shoot down Kenta's men, while Kenta himself uses the jewel to defend himself. When an opportunity presents itself, Baroness escapes from the scene. A fierce battle ensues, and Snake Eyes and Tommy manage to wrest the jewel from Kenta's grasp. Tommy almost uses the jewel to kill Kenta, but the man escapes. Snake Eyes chases him, and they end up near the pit of anacondas. Snake Eyes uses a chain to pull Kenta into the pit, and the freed anacondas consume him. Snake Eyes himself is nearly attacked, but he surrenders his ego, and the anaconda releases him. Sen gathers the heroes and praises them for saving the Arashikage, but she informs them that Tommy cannot become the clan's leader due to his attempt to use the jewel against another person. The jewel is meant to protect the clan, not to be used for personal vendettas. An angered Tommy goes into exile and blames Snake Eyes for the outcome, vowing to kill him if they cross paths again.
Offer to me your life. Next time we meet.
Later, Snake Eyes finds a new place to live and discusses with Akiko his plan to track down Tommy. Scarlet appears and hands Snake Eyes files containing information about his father. The files reveal that Snake Eyes' father was a member of the Joes and had provided valuable intel about Cobra, saving countless lives. This made him a target for Cobra, and to protect them both, he kept them hidden, erasing any official records of Snake Eyes' past or true identity. With this newfound knowledge, Snake Eyes is presented with his iconic armor and mask, and he sets off on a motorcycle to pursue Tommy. Meanwhile, Tommy is on a plane heading to an undisclosed destination. He discovers that the flight attendant is Baroness, who offers him an opportunity to join Cobra.
You've lost an army, Tommy. But I can get you a better one.
Tommy agrees and decides to adopt a new identity, calling himself Storm Shadow. Thank you for joining us in this movie recap. We hope you found it both informative and enjoyable, providing you with a deeper understanding of the story. If you liked the video, kindly give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more movie recaps and thrilling content. Your support is invaluable, as it enables us to keep producing high-quality videos like this one. Thank you once more for watching, and we look forward to having you join us in our next recap.